Hey everybody, I'm Jason Will. I am the Dean of Hustle at Momentum University. I'm here with Doug Edrington. All right, we're going to talk about team building today. Doug has a massive team in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That's right.
What other areas do you serve?
So we are just in Chattanooga, Tennessee, in the whole greater Chattanooga area. I guess you could even say a little bit of North Georgia because we're right on the border. Chattanooga is our hometown. We have not only a team, we recently opened up a Berkshire Hathaway brokerage, so that's been exciting.
That's big time.
We're getting to be exposed to a lot, so it's awesome.
Ready? Ready to rock and roll? Is that action? All right.
Okay. That's right. All right. Absolutely. Go.
Hello, everybody. It's Jason Will with
Go.
This is a real estate podcast, but we talk about leadership, personal growth, and becoming the best version of yourself. Leadership, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Growth, best version of yourself.
Go.
So this is a real estate podcast. All right, Doug Edrington, I don't know if you're experiencing this, but are you seeing the independent agent that they want their voice to be heard, saying that the team model is ineffective, it's broken, it's not profitable, because right now, really all the noise in our industry is about teams.
So here's what I think. Are they right? Yes. Are they wrong? Yes. It's not like it's black and white. It's very gray. And what I've learned is that team leaders typically are a team leader because they were just a good performer. They were able to create a lot of business, and they thought that, well, I'm just going to bring people on, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily the best manager, right? Have we ever seen that before?
Yeah.
So I like to think that, first off, knowing what your strong suit is, and yes, you may have to wear all the hats at one time because that's what you do when you're growing a business, but be very, very crystal clear. I like to call it, have your visionary organizational chart drawn out on the wall of what are you going for, so you can immediately from day one, or maybe day 21, or maybe year 20 when you're starting over, rebuilding for the 12th time, at least like if you drew the map up on the wall, you said, this is where I need to be and these are all the people I need, so then you can start plugging those people in. Think as big as you can. I love to have the visionary chart of what we are today. It's me, the assistant, the buyer's agent, and then where I want to go, where there are agents and expansion teams and marketing departments, all the stuff that goes with it. And you may not even be the CEO. You might be like a board member and someone else is the CEO. Right? So from small to thinking really big will help you just get to the next step.
So why not? You mentioned that there's a little dialogue in there. You kind of snuck it in there about like rebuilding for the 12th time.
Yeah.
So things are going to happen, right?
Yes.
Yes. People who are upper level executives in your organization are going to leave. They're going to take agents. They're going to take business with them. There's really nothing we can do to stop that.
Right.
And so I'm sure you've had times where you're like, you know what, to hell with this. I'm just going to be a single agent, maybe hire a bunch of badass admins.
No, I've never thought that before. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So what keeps you going, and why is this worth it?
I would say exposure to other people's lives, scenarios, teams, companies helps me really focus in on you have a bad day, it doesn't mean you failed. Hopefully you can see it as you learned. We forget that the stock market, when we see the ticker going up and down, that's somebody's company.
Right.
That's a bunch of
that's a good example.
Businesses that's going up and down, and they're never just straight.
Right.
They're never straight down. It bounces up and down all over the place, and I think it's important to recognize that if you, we're at a big event right now, if you and I meet other people, we've all done this, you mastermind with people, and you literally say, here's my business, here's what it looks like, and I'm what does yours look like, and let's compare, and I like that, you like this, we give and take, and then next thing you know, you realize, what, I'm not failing, I'm just learning, so having that mindset of you're going to fail, just fail forward, fail quickly, adapt quickly. I think that's really important. Between now and the end of the year, my mindset is grow faster, die slow.
Wow.
I really think that is super important to think about, because if you're not growing, you're dying, but let's just grow faster so we don't die slow, because unless you're you get old and you finally die, right? I don't want to do that.
Well, isn't it, and we talk, about our clients, our buyers need to have the right expectations. Our sellers, if we don't arm them with the right expectations that, the lock box may get left open, or they might come home with the key in the door, or, the inspection might go bad, or we might get some low ball offers. If we don't kind of set the stage for those things and they're surprised, they kind of, it troubles the experience a little bit.
So on that note, I would say this, cash is king, right? Everybody knows that. They've heard that a million times. The times where I have more cash in the bank account, I don't feel like every conversation has as much weight on me to make cash off of that conversation, right? So it's easy to say, everybody's going to build up to it. But if you met with a buyer, since we're talking buyers and sellers there, if every buyer you met, if you knew that it didn't matter if you made $1 from them today or if you made $1 from them next year because you were truly being their advocate, not just a salesperson, you're going to build more relationships long term. People are going to trust you. Team leaders are the same way. Like I think I've had people team members that are producing, and maybe something's going on in their life right now, and I just don't think they're the best fit, but I know that by helping them move on to what they're supposed to be doing at that moment is going to help them in life, and they may even come back. And I'm okay with that. But like when you don't have any cash in the bank, you don't think that way. You think, how do I make the money right away? And so it tends to have you make maybe some decisions that you wouldn't have made it had your bank account been fuller. So again, set a really crystal clear goal. Sometimes it's like, maybe it's just 10 grand. Maybe it's 100, depends where your market's at, right? Us lower price points, it's a little bit different. But just having that nest egg makes you feel better. When you feel better, you make better decisions, right?
And people are going to come and go. I mean, you've got to make peace with that. You're very rarely. I mean, what's the longest running team member you've had?
Well, unfortunately, my dad has been with me for no. Obviously, the family's there. It's great.
Yeah.
No, we've got a gentleman on our team. I want to say he's been with us for 6 or 7 years now, and it's been a great place. Now, I will say this: if he's watching this, I know he knows what I mean. He's older in age, so he's looking to figure out how to. I don't want to say retire, but eventually slow down.
He's winding it down.
A lot of other people younger in the industry, they're on your team, they're looking to do something with it. And that's part of the reason we started the brokerage, is because at the last brokerage that I was at, I was just the team. I didn't own the bigger picture. So we bring someone on. Our whole business was built around bringing agents on that were not in the business, so no experience. Bring that person on. They'd be with us for 18 months on average, and they'd say, I want to go start my own team. The hard part about that, and if you're in that mindset right now, really have a conversation with a lot of people, because there hasn't been a single person that has left our team, maybe one who did recently, and I think he has a shot to make it happen. But everybody else jumped out prematurely. They all were capable of going and doing their own team. They just did it too soon without enough education. So now under the brokerage, and you probably have a similar setup in your model, someone's on my team and they want to start their own team, I can really support it because it's still underneath the roof, and you don't have that like I want to kick you out kind of mentality, right? So
that is a bonus.
Yep, definitely.
And for us, we're kind of like the major leagues, and all the other agents are in the minor leagues, let's say, and it gives me this talent pool. If somebody steps up and I can see them that they're rockstar talent, I've just got this very narrow lens that I can look through and spot talent and go, hey, you should come up to the major leagues.
And I want to say this too, for the team leaders out there, the message isn't it's not go open a brokerage.
No.
That's not the message.
That's
the message is build the organization that you want, and you can do it wherever you want, right? I just had a desire to do it. I didn't always have that desire. But I will say this, within our team, we have assistants that turn into ISAs, that turn into agents, that turn into mentors, that turn into managers, that turn into maybe even a regional area manager as it applies to expansion. So if you build it and you show it in your vision, someone once said, I wish I knew who said it, you have no right to ask for what someone's why or vision is if you don't give them yours. And so as a team leader, show your team where they can grow in your business, and they're more likely to come to you and have the conversation about how can I grow within our business versus peace out, I'm going to go do my own thing because I think that's the only way to grow. And by the way, once again, typically not a person who went to school for business management, and the cycle just continues on, right?
And so team members, they have to have, if you're going to build a successful team, I think you have to gain some fulfillment by seeing others succeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I started my team, it was just because somebody said, this is what you need to do. Yeah. This is where the money is. This is how you can work less and make more. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll go do that. I didn't develop the org chart like you said. I didn't do any self-reflection about who I am as a leader, where I want this to go. And for, nearly a decade, it was just like hitting my head against a brick wall.
Yeah.
And then had to change everything and say, well, I need to start not looking for what people can give me in terms of return, but how can I invest in them? So you got to say, what kind of person am I?
Yeah.
Where am I going to get fulfillment? If it's all about cash, maybe the situation is just hire a bunch of rockstar admins and go crush it and just bring all the money in. I don't know.
Well, there was a point when a couple years ago where I thought, all right, what's the goal next year? Goal sell. We did just shy of 600 houses, like 491. We did the previous year, and the next year it's like, all right, what's the goal? It's 1,000. And we took a step back and I was like, what will 1,000 houses actually do for us? And when you start to make the pros and cons list, like the pro, it's like money. The con was like, well, we got to figure this out, and time. And I realized, I was like, you know what? Maybe just getting to 1,000 houses isn't necessarily the smartest thing. We're at a point in our career where we need to rebuild our business and repackage it to where it can be scalable to handle the 1,000-unit build. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's kind of a deep thought here, but if you're thinking about making a tremendous amount of increase in sales, I would first ask you, how do you make a tremendous change in your business to be able to handle it and scale with it? And what you'll find out very quickly is that, maybe your support staff can't support that. So make sure you think that through. So then you start to think about, well, if I hired more support staff, am I just selling more houses and making the same amount of money? So then you got to start thinking like virtual assistants. Like my team has 7 of them. We figured out how to leverage that type of world. So ISAs, admin, personal assistant. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a big organization. And I think that's a good thing to talk about too, because you mentioned you didn't want to warn people about going out and starting their own brokerage, because as you're figuring out now, there's a whole bunch of set of headaches that come over that.
Oh yeah, totally. Just all sorts. We bought a building back in March, 6 months or so ago, and then I learned that there's I don't know, you just learn all sorts of funny. I'm almost embarrassed to admit some of the stuff that I didn't know.
Well, it's amazing.
Hey, there's a $2,000 bill for sewer, and I'm like, oh, I have to pay for that. So just little stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. But those little things add up. Call the power board. How much is internet? And they say, well, it's going to be $200 a month, and then they're cool. Prep work, right? Then we actually buy the building, call the utility company back up, say, hey, we're ready for it. And oh yeah, it's $200 plus $100 for every access point you put throughout the building every month. So, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It adds up. So do your homework, make changes quickly.
And I have a lady in my one of my offices who is in just the infancy stages of building her team.
Okay.
And the first one she kind of built, she ran into a lot of roadblocks, but the biggest thing that hindered her in the beginning was the accountability piece. Because she was just adding, and I think this is how it kind of happens in the beginning. Maybe you're going to add a friend or a family member to your team first, somebody that you probably know.
Hires, right?
Yeah, anybody that's just like, I like you, I'll be in business with you.
Yeah.
So, and that's really who she started out with, is this nucleus of people that she'd already had a relationship with.
I would tell her this: the old saying, "What got you here won't get you there." For that woman, whoever that may be, we'll call her Sally. If Sally is starting a business and she's trying to figure it out, I would recommend to her to say, that person that you hire, know that you might have that person for 12 months. You might have them for 10 years, right? But let's just assume you might have them for 12 months. So let's just go ahead and prepare our mindset that they're not going to be here later, because you are starting a business. And last time I checked, no one starts a business and does it just right the first time. So you're going to learn a lot from them. Maybe you set the pay structure wrong. Maybe you probably set the expectations wrong. But that person is also going to learn a lot. They're going to move on in life and say, now I know what it's like to go work for a startup. And how much did they learn? Right. So it's not like either one took advantage of each other. Two people made a choice, and they both learned from it. But just be willing to know that you don't own people. And I think that your mindset will change when someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm thinking about leaving. You can say, that makes sense. If I were in your shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. Can we repair it? Can we fix it? If not, let's part on a friendly way and let's move on, because we don't own people, right?
And that communication piece is so important, because if you're really communicating accountability in the right way, then you're helping your team members understand that the accountability is one of the main selling points, like why you came here, because that's the only way you're going to reach your full potential is through accountability. So accountability is really a love thing. It's not a hate thing or an iron fist thing. It's like, I am going to get you to go where you always wanted to go. Yeah. But how did it take you a while to wrestle with that piece?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll give you 2 things here that probably worth leaving you with. Very simple though. One-on-ones. Do you have a one-on-one with your team, every single person on your team? And as your organization grows, you might delegate that. You may have a one-on-one with someone that has one-on-one with 5 others that you don't, so as you grow, think that way.
Right.
But for that Sally who hires that one person, does she have a one-on-one with their person every single week? Because that person is doing everything they can to please Sally, and Sally assumes that person knows what they're doing most of the time, especially if it's a new position. I can't tell you how many team leaders have said, I hired my first position of this position, whatever that may be, and we're going to figure it out together. And the reality is that person may have an entrepreneurial spirit in thought, but when you actually say figure it out, they need you. That's why they came to work for you. They're lost. So the one-on-ones are important so you can help. It gives the platform so where you can say, here's what you're doing really good, which is important to compliment, and then here are things where there's areas of room to grow. Because if you don't have those one-on-ones and you don't communicate well, that other person, usually one of 2 things happens, which one being they assume that they know more than the team leader, which sometimes they do, and they decide they're just going to go do their own thing. Or maybe they decide to take over and do what they want to do, and maybe you won't approve of it as team leader. The other thing that I would say in any type of partnership, relationship, employee, agent, whatever you want to call it, be very clear on 3 things. I think this is great for the C-level or your leadership conversation, but all the way down to everywhere, the agent and the assistant. Have clarity on 3 things: ownership, compensation, and decision-making. That triangle, ownership, compensation, decision-making, if you don't have those 3 things crystal clear between anybody in your organization, you're going to have chaos. Who owns the company? We understand equity, right?
Right.
It's your company. I don't own it. I may be here, but I don't own it. Compensation. I am here and I helped build this underneath your roof. You own it, not me, right?
Right.
So, and then how do I get paid? I jump back to ownership. But on that note, what that typically leads to is maybe a bonus, a reward, or a raise. Do you have your pay structure set up to where they understand that they're not a partner in the business, so therefore they're probably not going to get paid the same way? Or maybe that person gets paid more because you do nothing if you're the owner of the company. It just depends, but clarity is key. And then last, decision making. I think it's appropriate to say in different departments or different parts of your business, someone can have decision making. This usually falls on the leader, though.
Right.
Do you respect that? You give them the ability to do so? Do you respect to allow them to make those decisions? Ownership, compensation, decision making. If those 3 things aren't clear, you're going to be bumping heads. But when those things are crystal clear, it's nice to talk about new projects and not worry where the money's going to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to, let's end on this. What's one thing you love about running a team?
One thing that I love about running a team,
or just being a part of a team, your favorite thing about team building.
I think it's different today than it was, a few years back, especially when I was in production. One thing that I really love is that we're at the point in our career where I'm only looking to hire leaders because I want to impact people that want to impact somebody else. And just because you're good at doing something doesn't mean that you're a good teacher. And nobody's naturally a good teacher. I've learned this. You have to be taught. I've been taught, I've been trained, and I have way more to learn too, as we all do. But teaching a skill that has been taught to you that no one can naturally just have, I think is a really awesome thing because you can constantly improve it. You can put your touch on it. You can mold people. And to see people and families grow, there was a guy of a hotel company that is in Chattanooga, and I'll never forget this. I asked him a question. I said, how many employees do you have? I asked him, how many employees are you responsible for? And he said, I'm responsible for 150 families. And it was just the way that what came out of his mouth. It was that's a lot more than just 150 people, and how he's impacting them. It was just super cool takeaway. So, my big thing is like just figure out what you're really good at, what you're passionate about it, stay in that lane, and delegate and leverage others to help you do the other pieces that you don't want anything to do with. So
not everybody can go out and build a team.
I'm sorry?
Not everybody is cut out to go out and build and run a real estate team.
No, absolutely not.
Just because there's a lot of noise in the industry about it right now doesn't mean that that's the right place for you.
On that note, you might be a tremendous salesperson, and salespeople make all the money, right? So don't think of it as a status. Think of it as how can you leverage your skill to reach your goals and do it the way you want to do it.
Ooh, that's a good one, Andrew.
Cool,
Doug, thank you so much.
All right,
Enjoyed
man.
it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. I want to encourage you to go to MomentumUniversity.com and check out the real estate conference that we're going to be hosting in New Orleans, Louisiana, April 11th and 12th of 2019. This is a real estate conference started by agents for agents. We've got the most incredible lineup of speakers you've ever seen at a real estate educational event. It's going to be awesome. It's also going to be on the backs of the French Quarter Fest. So come make a weekend out of it. Let's collaborate, network, and take our business to the next level. Get your tickets today at MomentumUniversity.com.
This show has been paid for and powered by JWRE, Jason Gold Real Estate. You can find Jason, Diana, and the whole JWRE team on the internet and Facebook. And everybody, have a great and productive and happy week.